In a quiet village on the peaceful outskirts of Kyoto lived an old carpenter named Haruto. Long before the wrinkles marked his face and his back bent with age, Haruto was known as the strongest and most reliable builder in the region. People would travel from nearby towns just to ask for his help. He had built dozens of wooden homes, small bridges over narrow streams, and even helped restore a prayer hall inspired by the timeless beauty of Kiyomizu-dera. His craftsmanship was not just work, it was art shaped by patience and love. Haruto's life had once been full. His wife Aiko had a laugh that could brighten even the coldest morning. His son Daichi followed him everywhere as a child, holding tiny tools and pretending to fix pieces of scrap wood. Their small wooden house was filled with warmth, the smell of fresh rice, the sound of evening conversations, and the comfort of togetherness. Haruto believed that true wealth was not money but the people who waited for you at home. But time does not pause for anyone. Aiko fell ill, and despite Haruto's quiet prayers and unwavering care, she passed away one winter night. The house that once echoed with laughter grew silent. Daichi, now a grown man with dreams of success, moved away to Osaka for work. At first he called every week, then every month, then only on holidays. Eventually, even those calls became brief and distracted. Haruto never complained. Each evening he would sit outside his house on a small wooden stool he had built decades earlier. He watched the sun sink behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange. Sometimes he imagined he could hear his wife humming from the kitchen or his son running toward him. But the wind carried only silence. Villagers pitied him. "Poor old man," they whispered. "He gave everything to his family and now he is alone." Yet Haruto did not see himself as abandoned. He saw himself as waiting for a purpose he could not yet understand. One rainy afternoon, as gray clouds poured relentlessly over the village, Haruto noticed a young boy standing near the roadside, soaked and trembling. The boy had recently moved with his family from Osaka and struggled to adjust. At school, he was teased for his accent and shy nature. That day, the teasing had turned into cruel laughter, and he had run away in tears. Haruto slowly approached him, holding an old umbrella. "The rain feels heavier when the heart is heavy," he said gently. The boy looked up, surprised that someone had noticed his pain. Through broken words, he confessed that he felt useless and unwanted. Haruto invited him into his workshop, a small space filled with the scent of cedar and pine. He handed the boy a simple block of wood and showed him how to hold a carving knife safely. "Wood is like people," Haruto explained. "If you press too hard, it breaks. If you guide it patiently, it becomes something beautiful." For hours they worked side by side. The boy's hands trembled at first, but Haruto's steady voice guided him. By evening, the block of wood had transformed into a small, imperfect bird. The boy stared at it in disbelief. "I made this?" he asked. Haruto nodded proudly. "Yes. And you can make many more things in life." Word spread quietly that the old carpenter had taken in a lonely child and made him smile again. Soon, other children began visiting after school. Some were curious, others were troubled. Haruto never turned anyone away. He taught them not just how to carve wood, but how to carve character, discipline, patience, humility. Months passed, and the once silent workshop filled with laughter. The rhythmic tapping of tools replaced loneliness. Haruto's heart, which had felt hollow after his wife's passing, slowly felt whole again. Then one unexpected afternoon, a sleek car stopped in front of his modest home. Daichi stepped out, wearing a crisp suit and carrying guilt heavier than his briefcase. He had heard from villagers about his father's workshop and the children who adored him. When he saw his father surrounded by smiling faces, he realized something painful. The man he thought was lonely had become the heart of the community. That evening, Daichi sat beside his father on the same wooden stool. "Father," he said quietly, "I was chasing success, but I forgot the one who taught me how to succeed." Tears filled his eyes. Haruto placed a gentle hand on his son's shoulder. "Wood bends when treated with warmth," he replied softly. "So do people." Daichi began visiting more often. He repaired parts of the workshop and helped organize supplies. For the first time in years, father and son worked side by side again, just as they had long ago. As time moved forward, the small workshop evolved into a cherished community center. Former students returned as adults, bringing their own children to meet the man who had changed their lives. One young man even started a housing project inspired by the spirit of Habitat for Humanity, believing that building homes and building hope were inseparable missions. Haruto eventually grew too frail to carve. His hands, once strong as oak, trembled with age. Yet he still sat in his chair, watching the younger generation create beauty from simple pieces of wood. Pride shone in his fading eyes. One peaceful winter evening, as snow fell softly outside, Haruto closed his eyes for the last time. He left quietly, the way he had always lived, with dignity. Above the workshop door hangs a wooden sign carved by the first boy he helped. It reads, "Strong hands build houses. Strong hearts build people." And though Haruto is gone, his legacy lives in every steady hand, every brave heart, and every life rebuilt through kindness.